For this week's assignment, I chose scenario number 3, which involved John Barnes interested in starting to teach his introduction to college writing course online. Now, what I suggested was that he will need to consider several things, particularly for a writing course. There needs to be adequate explanation of requirements and the necessary software for students to be able to connect and complete assignments. He would also need to consider if the tools the course requires are easily and readily accessible to all learners, regardless of their geographical location or any physical limitations that they may have. An article in Chronicles of Higher Education by Flower Darby reveals that only 9% of educators enjoy teaching online courses. This means that about 91% do not enjoy them. And that's a vast majority. They prefer the face-to-face interaction. She goes on to give some tips on things to consider in order to attain a high level of success teaching online. The first one is the LMS, Learning Management System. This is a tool through which instruction is delivered. The instructor has to use it effectively for communication of all sorts. Through the LMS, the instructor needs to send weekly messages, design the course in an intuitive manner, and be conscious of some of the limitations of online learners. The biggest one being that they're never all doing the same thing at the same time. Therefore, the content must appeal to this structure. This would formulate the basis of my advice to John. I would then send John a link to the following elearning.com article providing 7 tips on how to prepare for teaching online. It is an excellent read that I thought to be very, very helpful. Number 1, it says plan your classes just like you would be planning a regular class, live class. Number 2, prepare and master the technology. This is the wild card. You have to know how to use the technology effectively in order to teach with it. 3, set up an adequate working environment, meaning that you have an office at a place where you can work and record videos and send out your announcements and communications. 4, innovate and stimulate discussions. Very difficult to do, but very necessary in an online environment. 5, communicate regularly. Because you don't see them physically, you have to rely on communication heavily. 6, motivate your students. It's easy to lose motivation if you're working on your own as opposed to working in groups. And finally, ask for help and feedback. Every semester, try to get some feedback, try to figure out how to improve. Online teaching is a big part of the future of education. Therefore, somebody like John Barnes would be benefited to know that they're doing the right things to be more effective teaching online.